Good day, collectors and viewers. Social Distance Warrior is back with video number 19. Today we're going to look at our Sith Lord from episode 1. So we're going to jump to a prequel trilogy movie for this review. Favorite character of mine, probably the most memorable character from that movie. From the prequels as well. Even though he was only in episode 1, of course he'd make a return, triumphant return in the comic books and in the Clone Wars afterwards as well, because he was so well received in the comics. We're going to go over him today in detail. So please like and subscribe below. Let's go. So Darth Maul made his debut in episode 1. First release we get of him is part of that episode 1 line. So on the Comtech chip card back there with the Darth Maul logo, we get our first incarnation of Darth Maul. So that'll be this guy here. Now Darth Maul obviously made his debut in that initial trailer. Trailer came out about 6 months prior. There was a preview trailer in October, I'd say late October 1998. And Darth Maul was in that trailer and he ignited his lightsaber and it lit up from both ends. And we all went crazy. Like, who is this guy with the red face paint and a double-bladed lightsaber? Like, how cool is that? And then the anticipation for when the movie came out and we got Darth Maul. So here he is here. Sculpt is amazing. It still stands up today. He's in an action pose. He's in his Jedi Duel mode there from when he fought Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan in Theed at the hangar there. And there's Darth Maul and double-bladed lightsaber and all. Now, there's a hard figure to acquire when that initially came out. He does have, movement on his elbows there. He's got swivel to hold that lightsaber. You can adjust his articulation of the shoulders there. He moves at the hips, which is nice. A little bit on the legs there, and then, he's got a slit on the pants, so you can see the legs underneath. But that's the Darth Maul that we got from that initial wave, and of course, very popular, very sought after. I guess my only gripe here is probably that the horns aren't, pointy. They're not spiky. They're a little bit rounded off, but it depicts the character amazing considering, the technology at the time with the paint job. The face paint tattoo still done really, really well on Darth Maul. So that's the first Darth Maul we got. That's 1999. So once 1999 passed, next Darth Maul we're going to get is also in the same year, a Tatooine version. So when we get that first encounter, when Qui-Gon and Anakin are running back to the starship, Qui-Gon's going to fight Darth Maul, and Darth Maul's in his robes there, fully clothed. Cloaked. He's got the hood up. He's got, his cloak over. Now you can see underneath there, he does have his regular attire as well. But because he's got that cloaked head, there's not much you can do there. It's fixed on there. He does have swivel on his wrist there as well. Articulation up and down. Again, a very good looking figure designed to, stand and hold his pose. And you can see the lightsaber comes with only one side ignited, and the handle is very, very large because initially he was holding that lightsaber as one piece. He reveals it a little bit later in the movie when he's fighting the two of them. So that's the second Darth Maul that we got, also in 1999. So let's put these guys back here so they're not in the way. Okay, next Darth Maul that we're going to get is, again, same year, 99. It exploded, episode 1 did. Hasbro made a lot of Darth Mauls. The next one was a deluxe version that came with a lightsaber hilt. I do have that one as well. So it's very similar to that initial release Darth Maul. Should move that out of the way for a sec. You can see that the paint job's a lot better on this head. So I remember picking this figure up just because I loved the paint job on the head. It looked a lot more realistic. You could put him in a dynamic pose, holding that lightsaber, sideways. It does have an action feature on here. You can turn the handle around so he does flips. Okay, and then there's a little button here, trigger button on the back of this, the lightsaber hilt, where if you press it, he can move his lightsaber back and forth. And the way he does that, he actually comes off of this. There was 2 other figures released as well. There was a Qui-Gon Jinn, and I believe it was an Obi-Wan that came out as well. So if you look on the back, there's a button there. You push that button in, and then you can perform that action when you have him solo as well. So unless you have him turned sideways, it doesn't really get in the way. It's a nice feature to have, and you can play around with that figure. I always like to have action features. I find that, it's a lost art nowadays, having that action feature. So that just clips right into his belt there. We can just put him back in. And then that button on the back, that just pops into the hilt there. And then you have that action with the Darth Maul. So we can put him back, get him out of the way. So that was also 99. And then the next one that we got around the same time, I remember getting this one on the original day of release. I went to the midnight opening. I wasn't able to find that original Darth Maul. He was gone. I had to wait till the next day to go to a different store. But I did manage to score one of these. So Darth Maul on the Sith speeder. So he came on his speeder in a deluxe pack. Really cool. Like the speeder detail is awesome. There's a little translucent piece of plastic here in the back. So when you sit it down there, it looks like he's floating. He's coming across. It doesn't, has no trouble sitting. He's got the handles. He's got his hands posed where he can hold the handles. I'll show you that in 1 second. He's got a cloth robe. He's got articulated knees on this one, which is really neat. And there's little foot pegs that you put on the pedal of the speeder there, so you can hold him in place and he won't fall off. They did advertise it. See this little hole here on the front? They did advertise it where you could put the lightsaber in. Let me just show you that. Let me take the original guy's lightsaber out there. Just want to show you something. And they advertised an action feature where you could put the lightsaber through like that and have him drive around, and then he can decapitate anybody that's in his way. How cool would have that been? So it's a nice little feature you can add there, play feature for kids or adults, whatever you want to say. So there's also a nice little feature on the back here. Let me just turn it around and kind of show you what it looks like. You can see the details on the speeder. And of course the speeder get re-released numerous times. But on the back here, there's a little lever. You pull that lever down, and the back hatch opens up. And what do we see back here? There's a Sith probe droid. So you can launch his probe droids right off of his speeder. So if I push this again, it's going to launch that speeder, the probe droid out. So you can search for the Jedi and for Anakin Skywalker and Tatooine because he was looking for them. That was his mission. So that store is there, and then it doesn't even get in the way at all. It's a nice little feature. You just close that down. You don't even know it's there. So that's a really cool looking figure. Now, to show you the figure on his own as well, he did get released numerous times. I do have him in loose form as well. This cloth goods cape is a little bit different. This is from a little bit later, Saga Collection or Movie Legends, something like that. You can see the head sculpt's done a little bit nicer on this guy, but articulation-wise, if I was to pull this cloak over him here, let's just kind of pull that off to show you what he looks like underneath there. So the arms swivel, wrist swivel as well, and then he's got that articulation on the knees. So that's what you had with that Darth Maul figure. So you get numerous figures of Darth in 1999. So next one we get, same thing, 99, later towards further down towards the end of the year, we get cinema scenes with more realistic versions of characters, but they're in an action pose. There's a Tatooine showdown with Qui-Gon and Anakin, and we got a brand new Darth Maul. It's one of my favorites to today. I just love the sculpt on this one. So he comes with his, hood up with his robe on when he first fights Qui-Gon, when he tries to stop him from getting back to the Queen's ship. So he's only got one side ignited, but you can see his robes, flowing. He's got some sand, a decal on his cloak over here, and he's positioned, and the face sculpt is amazing on this guy. I don't know if you can tell, but you can see the chin of Ray Park there. Like, it looks really, really good. Like, really, really evil, sinister look on his face, which is nice. Let's flip him around this way. Articulation, you do have some articulation here. Let's see if I can show you. There's swivel at the elbow. You can move the arms up and down a little bit on both sides. Legs, a little bit, but you can kind of see it's impeded by his robe underneath there. There's not much you can do than stand him. So I position him in that scene with Qui-Gon and Anakin. It still looks, you can see, 21 years later, it still looks amazing, that figure. And that hood is nice and big too, flowing in the wind as he was fighting. So that's what we got in 99 as well. So we had a lot of different variations of Darth Maul in 1999. Also in 1999, we get a Sith Lord version of Darth Maul with some cloth goods. That'll be this one here. So he's got some cloth goods on the bottom of his robe there under the belt, which is neat. No articulation at the knees or anything. You can move the legs back and forth. What was really interesting about this figure is the arm. No swivel at the elbow. So you're just kind of stuck in this position, almost like he's trying to shoo or, back slap somebody across the face. But I picked up the Maul because it was the first time I got him with the lightsaber hilt where it can ignite, on one side, or you can attach the other side as well to have him with the removable blade, which is a really neat accessory. And of course, it's a brand new Darth Maul with cloth goods. I had to get him. So that's the next incarnation of Darth Maul. Again, we get another one in 99. And that's that version there with the soft goods. Now we go to 2000. So Power of the Jedi line just started coming out. There was a Masters of the Dark Side two-pack with Darth Vader and Darth Maul. And it's kind of a kit bash figure, kind of a new figure. I don't have it, but we'll throw a picture up there just to show you. That's right when the Power of the Jedi line came out. That was a little bit more difficult to acquire, that particular character, but some people love that Darth Maul and the Darth Vader in that set, so worth mentioning. So then in 2000, part of the episode 1 line, we also get a 2-pack with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul called Final Lightsaber Duel. So they came with a base. It's where Obi-Wan, defeats Darth Maul and chops him in half. So what other version can they give us of Darth Maul? How about one where he gets chopped in half? Which was awesome. So we got another Darth Maul version like that. You can see his head, the neck can kind of, sway back to give you that, image of him falling back. You can see the way his arm's positioned too, like he's getting cut in half. His lightsaber, because Obi-Wan did cut it in half, you can see it's got a shorter hilt now as well. So he comes with that. He does have articulation, at the arms there. Nothing at the wrist, but the arms go up and down. The legs, I guess, before I show you him cutting in half, the legs can kind of move a little bit back and forth, but not much to do with him there. But the neatest feature here, he's got a magnet at the hip, and we can separate him in half. So there you got Darth Maul, and you chop him in half, and it still holds up really well. It sits on there nice. This part of his robe, the bottom part, does come off here, so you can see the articulation that he has on his legs there. And if we wanted to see what he looked like without that bottom part of the robe on, you can see, yeah, he's probably not in proportion right now. You can see how much that robe actually does for the character, but that does come off. Let's put that back on, and then I'll show you how that looks with the Obi-Wan set. And then, of course, on the back, that's what he looks like. You can see, so this thing, with the robe there and the magnet, if the robe's not sitting all the way down, the magnet won't hold really well. So they'll do a modification to that going forward, but let's just show you this 2-pack one first. So let me bring Obi-Wan over. And they came with this base, you can see from that battle, and little pegs where you can stand them on. Let's just put Maul on there. And then if you have your Obi-Wan figure over here, he has an action feature. If you push that button on the back, he'll chop Darth Maul in half. So let's just swing him there. Here, I'll show you. You see that? It swings it back in half. And you cut Darth Maul in half, and off he goes into that pit. Bottomless pit, never to be seen again, till Clone Wars, of course. So let's move him out of the way. So that was 2000. Again, that was still part of the episode 1 line. And then Power of the Jedi just launched. We talked about Masters of the Dark Side. There was another single figure release of Darth Maul. Final Duel. Again, it's the one that breaks in half, but they did a modification to him. So they made him as a single release as well. It's almost an identical figure with one updated feature on it. So the neck is not as long, so you can still turn the head. They got a little bit of movement on the neck where you could try to push it back, but not like the one in the 2-pack. He does still come with the lightsaber with half the hilt cut off. Same articulation, same pose when it comes to the arms. But watch now, when I go to break this guy in half, they've, don't have the bottom part of the robe removable anymore. They have a little hump there coming up, and that goes into the top part of Darth Maul there to hold him in place a lot better so it won't fall off, and you don't have to worry about how well the gown is sitting on there. His robe is sitting on there. So let's turn him around just to show you what he looks like from the back. So that was part of the Power of the Jedi line, and of course I wanted to get him. I wasn't going to get him at first, and then when I saw online that he did come with a separate torso piece there where it sits in better, I needed to have him. So I picked him up as well. So let's put him back there. The next one that we're going to get is also in 2000, also part of the episode 1 line. So there was still some episode 1 stuff coming out at the same time they launched Power of the Jedi. This one was Darth Maul in his robe, and they came with these stands with the mini version of the ships that they came with. So Darth Maul came with one, and I instantly had to pick it up because I loved the pose that they stuck him in there with his gown on, robe on. He's got the hood up. He's got his lightsaber hilt attached to his side over here. It's not removable, but it's attached on there. He does come with his Sith speeder. This does come off on the stand there. A nice little stand on the bottom here. And he's holding his binoculars, which is really neat. It's when the scene on Tatooine when he's looking into the distance to see what his bounty looks like. And he's got his bracelet on his wrist there. He does have some articulation. You can move his elbows back and forth there. You can move his arms up and down a little bit, but not much. And you can see his robe is underneath there still. So that's still standard stuff. But warranted enough to be a new figure. Okay, let's put him back over there. That was in 2000 as well. Then there was also another version of Darth Maul, kind of a Kit Bash version with a new head. He had a cloth robe. He came on a Sith attack speeder. I don't have that one to show you. It was an imagined vehicle, so it wasn't a vehicle that came out in the movie, just more of a, another thing that they added into the line with another version of Darth Maul. So I never picked it up. I wasn't too crazy about the figure or the speeder, but worth mentioning, there was also a Walmart exclusive holographic version of Darth Maul. It was a light up base. It wasn't really an action figure, but it's still in 3 3/4 inch form. So again, worth mentioning. And he's got his arms crossed. And it's from his first appearance there when they were talking to the Darth Sidious, and he said, "This is my apprentice, Darth Maul," and he shows up with his arms crossed. And so now we go to 2001, Power of the Jedi, and we get a Sith Apprentice expanded universe version. I think it's more of a sketch version of Darth Maul, what they were kind of planning him to look like, and then they made him into, that's what he looked like when he was training. So they gave us a figure of that in Power of the Jedi line. It's a neat figure. It's a brand new sculpt. It's a brand new imagining of what Darth Maul would look like. Again, not much articulation on here. You can move his arms up and down. You can't do anything at the elbow over here. He's positioned this way. So that makes him less desirable because you can't really do anything with him. But if you position him like that, he kind of looks cool sitting on the shelf. He does have this unique looking turtleneck around him here. And you can see he's got that, sinister smile on his face, but that's, Darth Maul in training. It's an imagined version of him in training. They also made a training version of Qui-Gon. They made a training version of Obi-Wan as well. So they're experimenting with some expanded universe with the prequel stuff as well. Let's just show you what it looks like from the back there. That's what he looks like on the back, and you can see his head, his horns. Again, a brand new figure. You can move him at the waist. You have some movement on the legs, but all in all, you're going to have to position him a certain way and just keep him there just because his arms are fixed in an action pose. So that's Power of the Jedi Sith Apprentice Darth Maul. And then we're going to 2001 as well. They made these deluxe sets. They had like a Luke with Bacta tank. They had a Man-O-Man. He came in a deluxe set. And they also made a deluxe set of Darth Maul. So it was their first shirtless Darth Maul. And he came with a Sith attack droid. Let's show you that figure as well. That's this one here. Again, he's more of an action pose. Hasbro was doing a lot of that at the time. But it was nice to see Darth Maul, under his shirt there, he's got the tattoos just like he has on his face. So he's got a really nice look. And, of course, he was such a popular and, prominent looking character, like appealing looking character that you had to have every version. So this one, in a fixed pose, he's kind of standing on a slant. So you can't really do much with his head there. Here he looks a little drunk if I put his head like that. But if I do that, he looks like he's about to go into battle. He can't move his arms up and down. He does have some movement there at the elbow, and then he's got some movement at the wrist. So they're experimenting with, various forms of articulation. Sadly, nothing on the legs. They're pre-posed. So he's kind of stuck in that position of how he's standing, and you can move them just back and forth, but you can't really do much. Other arms, same as the one I just showed you. So you can swivel, at the wrist or at the elbow. You have that articulation, or at the shoulder with Darth Maul. So cool looking Darth Maul. Now he did come with a probe as well, a training probe. That's this one here. It's an imagined probe, so it's not something from the movie. It's something they made up. It doesn't have an action feature where you push this little button here at the bottom and it just pops off. So it can explode. So like he's chopping it down while he's training. Still a cool accessory. I don't know if it warranted the increased price point, but that's what we got. If you wanted a shirtless Darth Maul, you had to pick that up. So let's put him back there. Okay. So next one we're going to get is the Star Wars Saga Collection. They made a lot of figures with action features. Darth Maul, no exception. This one is, again, an imagining of him in a Sith training outfit. This one's really cool looking because the outfit stands out very well. Let's bring him down over here. So that's the Darth Maul that we get training-wise. And again, he's kind of positioned. He does have some articulation at the knee, so you could, turn him around and try to position his knee like he was kneeling down a little bit, or like standing back like he was, running. So you have some options there, but not ball joint, which would have been nice. But they were experimenting with articulation. They also had that same thing with Rebel Fleet Trooper, if you remember, where you can kind of kneel him down like he was shooting the stormtroopers when they were coming into the Tantive 4. So He's got these red accents going around his outfit, which is really neat. He's got a nice head sculpt. Articulation, he's got some wrist articulation there. You can move his arms up and down. Same thing on this side, some wrist articulation there. Elbow articulation anyway. You can turn them, back and forth. You have some at the wrist there too, if you wanted to move them. And of course at the shoulders. Now, he does have an action feature. We turn him around to the back here. There's 2 knobs on his back over here. One knob turns his wrist. You can see his wrist turning there. Okay, turn that around. And the other one moves his arm up and down. So if you put the lightsaber in that hand, you can do an action feature for him. And it doesn't really get in the way. Aesthetically, it still looks good. You really have to look close to notice it, so it's not sticking out too far, which is nice. But you had some play action features, which was nice to have at the time. One thing that's really cool here too is that the lightsaber, it's got a metal hilt. So they were experimenting with, putting magnets in the hands. They were calling it like force action, which was neat. And I believe you can pull the lightsaber off the hilt, so you have that double-bladed look, which was really neat with the Darth Maul. And if I put that, if you look into his hand here, you can see he's got the magnet in the hand, and that just holds the lightsaber in there. And then if we do the action feature, we can show you what it looks like when he's, turning his arm back and forth, his wrist back and forth, or his arm back and forth. So you have that action feature with Darth Maul for sure. Definitely cool looking. A nice added addition to the collection. I lost his stand here somewhere. Let's get him back on his stand. Let's get him back in position over here. Let's move along. Okay. So that was Saga Collection, Sith Training. Then we now fast forward. We don't get a Darth Maul for 3 years. So we go to 2005. And now once Revenge of the Sith came out, they made a whole bunch of different sets. They made evolution sets. They made one with the Sith Lords. Darth Maul was no exception. He got a new version there. So let's bring him forward. So it's a nice update to Darth Maul. Brand new figure, of course. Now added articulation. So added price point, but added articulation. He comes on a ball joint for his head. He does have articulated knees now for the first time, which is awesome. And he does have some movement on the ankles. Like, it's showing that you have the option to move it, but not much. You can mainly move them, sideways, not really up and down. So that's as far as the movement goes on his ankles. But at the knees was a welcome addition. Here you see there is some soft goods under there. But this front part of his outfit is very, very hard plastic. You can't really do anything but stand him up. That's as far as you can go without, warping that or breaking it off. So you can see articulation at the knee, and you can, because it's on a ball joint, you can move that side to side, do a lot of poses with him. You can turn him side to side. Let's just take this lightsaber out of his hand momentarily to show you articulation there. So he does have at the shoulders there the swivel, so you can move that arm all the way up. At the elbow, he doesn't have a ball joint. He can just, turn that back and forth. And then he does have some movement at the wrist. So there's a lot of options with the Darth Maul there that you can do to do lots of poses with him. He did come with a plastic gown as well you can put over. It doesn't look too good, as good in plastic as it does in cloth, but that was a nice feature. He does have a little, hole here on the side to attach accessories as well. And you can move him at the waist, which was nice. And it was nice to have a new Darth Maul with all that articulation for sure. So let's put that lightsaber back in his hand and see if we can't just get him back on the shelf up here and move on to the next one. Let's see if he's going to stand. Yeah, okay. So next one we get would be an 06, part of the Saga collection. We got a holographic Maul. So that'll be this guy here. I have him in package. He's a nice looking figure. So they had a nice translucent look, these figures did, when it came to the holographic figures. They made a ton of them. They made a ton of different figures in holograph form. He was no exception. It would have been nice to have him where you could cross his arms if they took the articulated version and had him cross his arms, but I'll still take this one. I love the background. The background is from that inside of the ship there at the Trade Federation from the very, very beginning, where you see him. There's a nice little illustration of him here, and it's exactly the same figure as that Tatooine one that we got in 1999. So let's just show you side-by-side comparison. So that is the sculpt, and it comes in a translucent plastic. It comes with the base inside there, and does come with a translucent lightsaber as well, which is nice. I do want to show you what it looks like on the back too. Let's turn that around. So they came with these holographic figures, lots of different versions of them. This one has a Darth Vader in there, and that's the picture of Darth Maul. It does have pictures of other ones that are on the line there as well. So you can see who else was coming out in the same wave as him. So that was in '06, and a lot of the figures were re-releases or modifications to existing figures, and there were some new ones. Like Palpatine was a brand new one, so there were some new ones. Luke was a brand new one, so there were some new ones. Like Rep Bean was a new one, but there were some re-releases like the Darth Maul, just in clear plastic. So that's 2006. Now we go to 2008, and we get a Legacy, another Evolutions set. This time another brand new updated shirtless Darth Maul. That's this guy here, with his lightsaber, with his outfit, and super articulated, really nice version. Cloth goods on the bottom. You can move him at the waist. You can move him at the chest. He's got a swivel at the chest there as well. You know, ball joint on the head. Same thing at the top of the shoulders there. You have full articulation. Up, down. The paint job's a little dark. I would have liked if it was a little more red. You know, I like this red a lot better. Let me show you that red on here. I like that red a lot better on this Darth Maul than the one on here. This one's a little bit dark, but they were looking for a more serious tone, for sure. And yeah, so articulation, lots of articulation at the waist as well. You can turn them side to side. And then if we look at his legs here, you can move his legs. You can bend them at the knee. You can swivel them at the knee. He does have ankle as well. Again, you can't really go, this one can go a little bit further down, which is nice, and side to side. So you can position him in lots of ways. You can have him, you know, leaping forward, jumping, or which way you want to position Darth Maul. It's giving me ideas now. I had him standing, you know, in such a safe pose that I think he needs to be showing some love for sure. So that was Evolution Set Maul. Let's get that lightsaber back in his hand. Okay. We try to anyway. Let's just put him up there for now. That's okay. So let's get him back on his stand, get him back in the back there, and keep going. Okay. Darth Maul. So next one, 2010, we get a Visionaries version of Darth Maul. It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. It was a comic pack with Uncle Owen. I have that one as well. I have it in package here. I don't have it out of package. I apologize. But that's what he looks like there. An older Uncle Owen. So the Uncle Owen actually is a really good figure as well. And then an imagining of Darth Maul with the chicken legs, robotic legs, where he was cut in half. He survived. And you can see he's got a nice, unique lightsaber as well. His horns are really, really, you know, tall on his head. He's really scary looking. The story was really, really good. The story was neat. And it was so well received that they actually did bring him back in the Clone Wars years later. Not exactly in this sculpt, not exactly in this storyline, but, you know, popular enough where they brought him back. People love Darth Maul. George Lucas initially killed Darth Maul because he didn't want him to be more popular than the rest of the story. And you can see how popular he actually was. So there's the front. I open it up. You can see Darth Maul's in there with Uncle Owen with his accessories. And this is a really neat one to have as well for your collection. He's definitely very serious and scary looking, and you know, I'd say definitely a worth it addition to your collection for sure. Definitely added value. Let's put him back over there. That was 2010. 2012, we'd finally get our definitive version of Darth Maul as part of the vintage collection. This one here on the card back. Let's just bring that forward to show you what he looks like in package. So there's Darth Maul, and he comes with a ton of accessories as well, which is nice. You know, he has his lightsaber. It splits in half. It's got the other half over here. You can have it ignited or turned off. You can have, he's got his binoculars. He's got a hood, you know, that does come off, and cloth goods underneath. So they didn't choose to make the hood cloth, which was strange, but nonetheless, it's okay. I'll show you what it looks like underneath in a second. I'll just show you the card back here as well. So the card back with the other characters that were in there, and then he was vintage collection number 86. We'll put him back here. And let's show you what it looks like in loose form as well. So that's him here. And this is the one that's got the ultimate head sculpt. So this Darth Maul, as you can see, he's got pointy horns. So I was so excited to get this figure just because realism-wise, that is the definitive sculpt of Darth Maul. And he's got cloth goods. He's got the robe on. He's got full articulation. He's holding his lightsaber here. You can split it in half, which is neat. So you can even do the scene where, you know, Obi-Wan cuts it in half. He can put one half on the ground, the other one in his hand with a smaller hilt. So he has that as well. He's got full articulation at the knees, you know, at the ankles. So it's kind of what you've seen before, but in a new way. And the robe is really nice too. The fabric is a new fabric from what we've seen. It's a flat look. It looks a lot more realistic. And this is your definitive Darth Maul if you wanted to get him. It's a perfect looking Darth Maul figure. Definitely worth having, one in the package, one open if you're a carded collector. Otherwise, open definite. That is the version that you want of Darth Maul. Let's get him back up there. Now, also in 2012, there was the Clone Wars cartoon, of course, had, Darth Maul make his comeback. He had robotic legs. He looked a little bit different than the one on the Visionaries set here. I don't have that figure to show you, but we're going to throw that up there too for you to see. That was 2012, part of the Clone Wars. And then we'd also get another Darth Maul. So they made a Movie Heroes line in 2012 as well. And they gave us a brand new version of Darth Maul. Again, I don't have that figure. We'll just throw a picture up. So new version, Movie Heroes version. Not as good as that Vintage Collection one, but worth mentioning because it is a new sculpt. And then we'd go to 2013. We'd get a Mission Series 2-pack with Obi-Wan. So it's a reimagining, like a more realistic version of what we saw in the Clone Wars with Obi-Wan. Again, I don't have the figure here. I can't seem to find mine, but we'll throw a picture up so you can see it. He's got the robot legs from the waist down, and then, the look of him on the waist up. It's a battle from Mandalore there with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then we wouldn't see Darth Maul again for 3 years. So 2016, we get a Rebels 2-pack of Darth Maul that came with the 7th sister. And that'll be this guy here. So he's the animated version again of that Darth Maul. He comes with his lightsaber. A lot of these Rebels figures were a little bit thinner, frail looking. They only have 5 points of articulation, so you can't really do much with them. But he does look good with his shirt off there. He is Darth Maul. He has a nice look. He was kind of cool in that show appearance as well. So you can see the robot, the legs down here, the metallic legs. Double-bladed lightsaber, and then you can put this hood on. He came with the hood where you can have that hood piece on and, have him looking a little bit sinister. He doesn't have a robe, but he does have a distinct look from the Clone Wars, from the Rebels episode. Okay, so that was 2016. And then next time we'd see him would be Solo movie released, and then they made a line with Solo figures as well. And Darth Maul was no exception. He came in that line as well with the Qui-Gon 2-pack. So it's a new version, 5 points of articulation. Again, I don't have him, but we'll throw a picture up just to show you. We'll give him some credit that he did come out. And that's all the Darth Mauls that we got, 3 3/4-inch form. The other one I'd like to show is my Black Series 6-inch one. So Black Series 6-inch, when the line first took off, they made a Darth Maul, and then he got re-released as part of the archive line with a better face sculpt. In 2019. So that's this figure here, super articulated. You can pull this robe off. You can see what it looks like underneath there. The head is a separate piece. So if I pull this head off, you put the other head on and you have the final duel Darth Maul as well. And his lightsaber does ignite from both ends. So you can see it's got the hole there on the bottom, binoculars in hand. So neat looking figure. It's nice this part is rubber because you can get that full sculpt over his head with the robe to have that menacing look of Darth Maul. And that's what we got as part of the Black Series. So that's all my Darth Mauls in 3 3/4-inch and that Black Series one. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments below. And thank you so much for watching. I look forward to making more videos. Take care.